to be returned. Number two, for the IGG to prosecute those fellows. It was problematic then, even according to Parliament standards. It's even more problematic now. And the reasoning was, you people are government officials, you earn a salary for what? For doing this work. You don't deserve anything extra. Yes, you have saved government money, but you are paid to do that. Fast forward. These people paying themselves 500 million, 400, 400, 400, having been a few months in office, they earn a salary, they earn allowances for the offices they occupy, law commissioners. There's a gratuity set for them afterwards as members of parliament and so on. So you're saying you're rewarding yourselves, number one, for what? At least the other ones of the 6 billion shillings, handshake had done something, even though we're saying it's problematic. But they had saved government 2.4 trillion shillings. But we're saying, no, you are paid to do that. That's your job. What had these ones done to award themselves this extra? It's problematic. Number two, even when you read the Leadership Code Act, Section 9, it points it out very categorically. You cannot see it and you award yourselves money from the consolidated fund. Number three, when we had a meeting, one of the things I asked the Honorable Mpuga, I said...
what kind of meeting was this? You see,
number one, the meeting that we first had was a meeting of senior leaders within the party. We told the Honorable Mpuga, we respect you as a senior leader. We didn't want to first throw this issue even at NEC, because NEC is a composition of many other people. We said, you are the senior leader, let's first, handle you as senior leader. So it's a meeting that had all the deputy presidents. Of course, myself, it had the Secretary General, it had members of parliament, senior leaders, the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi, the Honorable Namboze. The Honorable Segona was invited, but he was unable to make it. And we said, now as senior leaders, let's first discuss this issue here in this setting. Number one, he conceded that this did happen.
Yes.
He also acknowledged that this was wrong. And in that very meeting, he apologized. Of course, later on, I saw him denying that. And then people began to say, but hey, we were in the meeting. The deputy president spoke out of Northern Region. The deputy president, Western Region, spoke out and said, our colleague, don't mess it up any further. We were in the meeting, you apologized, so don't, And in that meeting, we asked him, we said, good enough you acknowledge this is wrong. The right thing to do is for you to step down. You'll be seen as even more honorable because even you acknowledge that this was not right. I did ask in that meeting, I said, firstly, a trap was set for you, our colleague.
What was the agenda of the meeting in the first place?
Just a second. A trap was set for you, and you fell in the trap. I told him, if this had been institutionalized in a sense, you would be covered in a sense. If it's institutionalized to say that, okay, going forward, this is what's going to happen, it becomes law of sorts. The quarrel would be about, but how do you guys, allocate yourselves this kind of money, even future lobs and so on. It's a lot of money, but at least there would be a cover. But now you're saying, no, this is just for us. So I asked him, what happens to, let's say, your predecessors? And the response was, now you who is new in the office, you'll also negotiate your own. I said, okay, so let's imagine I appease, whether it be the speaker or whatever the powers that be that decide, meaning I can negotiate for even 2 billion shillings.
So traditionally, that's been the modus.
That's problematic. No, it's the first time this is happening.
Okay.
Because all the other former leaders of the opposition have come out to say they've never gotten such money. It has never happened. Honorable Winnie Kiza told you, in fact, the thank you she got from Parliament was a calendar and a plaque. And she's not complaining. She's saying, that's what I got as a thank you, and that's all right. So it has never happened. But now the first time it's happening, you're saying it's just for us. Whoever comes will negotiate their own. It is wrong that you sit and say, now let's negotiate. Let me negotiate what I want. For what exactly? The other 2.4 trillion that was saved by the 6 billion shilling handshake people was saying it is wrong even when they saved government money. What have you done to award yourselves this money? Now you ask, what was the meeting about?
The agenda. Was there an agenda?
The agenda was this very issue because our leader was caught in this situation. It's out there. Let's sit and talk about it. And in that meeting, we said, you know what? Our advice to you is that you step down. Good enough, you have acknowledged it did happen. Number two, you have acknowledged it is wrong. Number three, you have apologized in that very meeting. Now that you have, step down. It does not make you any less of a man or a leader. It actually emboldens you, and people get to respect you a lot more, because this is problematic. Of course, afterwards, we did see denials about a couple of things.
He issued a statement.
You know, it's also good that we be honest as leaders, Simon. It's very important. Yeah. He also said, I've not received any of this money. I'm waiting for the first installment. Last week, the spokesperson of Parliament, Chris Obore, was on TV, and he conceded that all these people, Honorable Mpuga, Honorable Ssenyonyi, Akampulira Prosi, and Foyo Chan, received this money. Of course, we had already gotten information. They had already received the money. And we were saying, now, why do you also want to lie about that small detail? It doesn't make you look good.
Okay,
because now even the spokesperson of Parliament is acknowledging the money was paid.
Essentially,
so,
will this have been an internal matter? Did it even warrant a statement in the first place?
Because we agreed and said, please do this, and he said, give me a day, let me consult my family and so on. I'll be able to handle the situation. When that did not happen, we said, okay, so...
No, but you issued a statement that very evening. Was it appropriate?
It was not that evening. It was the following day evening. Not that day. Because we waited for the day he had asked for to elapse, and, you know, we didn't hear anything. We said, anyhow, the public, we have a duty to the public because they're asking us questions. They're saying, you NUP, previously you said you didn't have any evidence about your MPs who picked money. Now there's evidence. What are you doing about this situation? So we have a duty.
So what did you seek to achieve in issuing this statement?
The issue is not just about the statement, Simon. Don't reduce it to just a statement.
No,
it is in being accountable. It is in being accountable to the public to say something wrong has been done by one of our leaders. He has acknowledged as such. Okay. This is the right thing to do. This is the action that we are taking, that you people are always demanding of us. Because like I'm saying, when people pick money, you say, but you guys are not taking action. And we say, but you see, we want to take good action. Like we took action against Devandeke because he admitted. We relieved him from the shadow cabinet. Okay? The same thing we are asking of our colleague. So once there is evidence, you're duty bound to take action, because you would be the same people, well, not you again, like I've said, because you have your interests, which is okay. But at least other people would be asking us, why are you not taking action against this person? There is overwhelming evidence. And they were asking all those questions. And we said, good enough, this person has even acknowledged. Now, after that meeting of seniors and all that happened eventually, we said, okay, we did not want now to throw this out there too much. Let NEC also handle. Here, we were asking you as colleagues. We requested him and said, you know what, the right thing for you to do is to step down. Now that he's not done that, we said, okay, let the matter go to NEC. That same NEC.
Ordinarily,
isn't it? That same NEC is the one that approved him and seconded him to be leader of the opposition. That same NEC is the one that approved him and seconded him to be Commissioner of Parliament. So what were you asking again?
Ordinarily, isn't it NEC that is supposed to sit first and make a resolution of that kind?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You see, we can have an interaction, and that's why I said, we said as seniors first. Let's first have this discussion. We might not even need to go through the very formal processes of NEC and that kind of thing. As senior leaders, let's treat this person as senior leaders at that level before, because like I said, NEC is a composition of so many different people, no disrespect to them, but sometimes you want to handle a senior colleague a particular way. Say, let's first have this chat as senior leaders. And good enough among the senior leaders, he acknowledged and he did apologize.
Do you think you're being civil towards Honorable Mpuga?
Simon
look at some of the remarks that have been made by your principal. Take, for instance, at the burial of the late Romwa, the principal came out and said his deputy had picked money from Museveni to come and destroy the National Unity Platform. You think that was in good taste?
And
there is a video doing rounds on this.
As looking for the topic for which I was invited, because now you want to make it a Mpuga issue. I think I've explained what I have regarding that issue. The topic I was invited for, Parliament, just listen, Parliament expenditure bonanza is the institution losing the call for accountability. I'd like us to broaden this.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
And how he considered and how problematic this was. And again, we don't have any problem
the
with
statements
him
that have been flying in the aftermath of the party decision are in good taste?
Well, we are saying this is wrong. and we have taken the action that we have taken as a party, and we don't have any apologies. Okay? My hope is that as we move and begin to talk about Parliament generally, I don't know if you'll ask me also that now that I'm talking about the Speaker of Parliament and the institution, do I also not like her and all these other different people?
No, I don't think I can drag to that end.
Yeah, so then why you drag
No,
it? Why do you think that when we ask
Mpuga issue is
for
very
accountability,
critical because you're looking at a principle of a party.
yeah, and actually it's more serious because this is one of us. We are saying,
So do you know how delicate it is?
Charity begins at home. If the NRM doesn't want to take action against its commissioners, for us we want to take action as a party. And by the way, I want to appreciate the Deputy Secretary General of the NRM, the Honorable Rose Namayanja. She did come out and condemn this distribution of money to these commissioners and the law to themselves. Condemned her very own NRM commissioners and said, this is wrong. You guys covered the story. I saw it here on NBS. She said, this is wrong, and we are going to take action as a party. I hope they will. Okay? But we might not be responsible for the NRM commissioners. They were sent by the NRM. We are responsible for our person whom we sent as a party, and we are duty-bound. Because the public will not blame us for not taking action against the NRM commissioners. They are not within our reach. We didn't second them.
Do you know what it
but
takes?
They require us.
Do you know what it takes to recall a commission of parliament?
I know that law very well, even as a lawyer. And that's
Article
why I am
110.
saying
Yes.
we have asked our colleague to resign. It's the right thing to do.
Okay.
Can we now move to Parliament?
He's saying he will not resign.
That's okay.
What does that mean?
It means what he has said. And we also mean what we have said.
So where does that leave you as a party?
We'll
Does
see.
he still deserve the role of being deputy president of the party?
We'll see along the way. NEC is going to sit and determine and discuss several issues, so we'll see. I think that's preemptive.
Is dropping him from deputy president on the cards?
I don't know. The NEC has not sat. So is this a NEC meeting that we are discussing this? The NEC meeting will sit and discuss whatever it will discuss. So even I don't know. I will be in the meeting as a NEC member and we'll discuss several issues. So you can't preempt what I don't know will be discussed by us.
Mpuga is your predecessor. Have you had a chance to talk to him one-on-one about this matter? And do you know the temptation that comes with being LOB? Probably you could also find yourself trapped in the same web.
By the way, in some of our discussions, myself and him, he warned me about several temptations that will be thrown at me. I said, thank you, I will be alert, and I am alert.
So in a sense, would you forgive him that perhaps he was trapped by the office?
Yeah, to that extent. But then there are also, you know, leadership calls for certain duties. When you acknowledge that, okay, I have been trapped, I did the wrong thing, then do the right thing to say, okay, maybe if it had not been for the trap, I would not have fallen into it, but I did fall into it. Let me do the right thing and relinquish this role. Even the public would forgive you.
When you read Mpuga's letter in response, he talks about witch hunt, blackmail that's been happening within the party towards him.
I did read that
Have you
letter.
examined this?
Again, I think we need to be honest as leaders. Because when you talk about witch hunt, a small
Spite.
family clique.
Yes, he talks of
The
spite.
small family clique is the one that appointed you leader of the opposition. Actually, firstly, deputy president. The small family clique appointed you leader of opposition. And you didn't complain and say, no, this is a small family clique. It can't appoint me, I have refused. The small family clique appointed you commissioner. You didn't complain. Now, when the so-called small family clique is saying, you have acknowledged wrongdoing, you step down. Then that is when it's a family clique and, you know, we need to be honest as leaders. It's important. It helps.
So you want to suggest Mpuga is being dishonest?
There's many things that he's, especially after that incident, not being honest about. I've told you, he did say, even on the media, that he has not received this money. The spokesperson, we have information that they got the money. The spokesperson of Parliament was on TV last week. It's just that it's your competitor. Otherwise, you would probably play that video here saying they did receive that money and there are no apologies. That's Chris Obore who said that on TV last week. So again, there's dishonesty. So I know, of course, there can be a bit of panic and so on. You're trying to clean it up. It doesn't help. Just do the honorable thing. People will respect you for being honorable.
Yeah, but where things stand now, it looks as though the party is thrown in a bit of disarray. You see how Masaka is reacting. You see how...
How is Masaka reacting? I was in Masaka over the weekend.
I think there is a big rift growing in Masaka.
I don't think so. It's you people who are creating it. I've been seeing you type so many things on Twitter. Maybe you're a close friend to the Honorable Mpuga, and that's okay. But you have been writing and saying, now Masaka is in this array. Now, you know, there is confusion in Masaka. Masaka politics has gotten messed up. I kept saying, so Simon Kagwanjala is speaking as a friend to the Honorable Mpuga, as a stakeholder in Masaka, as a journalist, as what?
As a journalist.
Well, the jury is out there. Simon Kagwanjala, it is about 20 minutes to the end of the show. Can we get to Parliament?
No. I know this is part of Parliament.
No, I came to discuss Parliament. We have discussed for the last over 30 minutes.
Okay, granted.
The issue should not be reduced to the Honorable Mpuga.
Okay.
There are other issues happening in
shift
Parliament.
From the issue of Honorable Mpuga, do you imagine there is a crisis brewing within the NUP over the Mpuga issue?
There is no crisis in NUP. There is a crisis at Parliament. And now let me get to the parliamentary issues, because you diverted me from the issue I was invited for. Otherwise, then you guys are being dishonest. You invited me for a topic which I have read to you here.
Mpuga is a commissioner of
Parliament expenditure bonanza is the institution losing the accountability call. That's Parliament. Let's discuss Parliament. So what's happening in Parliament, Mr. Simon Kagwanjala? Now that you fear to ask the question, your interest is just Mpuga, and me, I'm saying, let's broaden this. What's happening at Parliament is extremely problematic. Number one, there's an issue with recruitment of staff, which is also mentioned in the Auditor General's report. Do you get time to read the Auditor General's report?
Yes, sure.
You do?
Yes.
No, Ugandans don't like reading.
At least I do.
Let's assume you do. That's mentioned in the Auditor General's report. The Auditor General mentions 105 staff that cannot be identified. They are earning a salary from Parliament. Of course, our investigation shows that the figure is higher than that. But so people are hired, as we do understand it. They don't come to Parliament. Some we do here. They work at the Speaker's Hospital in Bukedia, they work at her school, but they're drawing a salary. All of these are different things that we have gathered, and we're saying there must be an explanation to do with these issues. The leader of the opposition's office, which I occupy...
You're picking from the exhibition, I guess.
If you want to take it that way, but I'm actually within Parliament where the information is, so sometimes I could be getting it firsthand. The office that I occupy has got staff. Normally with every new leader comes with a new team. When I came in, I said, so I asked the director who supervises the staff, how have these people been operating? And I was told they've been doing a good job. So I said, let me vouch for all of them for their contracts to be renewed. I was told by the Speaker and the clerk, no, we cannot renew the contracts. I said, why? Do you not want me to work? Because when I don't produce the work that is required of me, whether it be ministerial policy statements and so on, you will say I'm lazy. But you're now, tying my hands. They said, you see, the wage bill has been hit, so we cannot go beyond. I said, but you people are continuously recruiting people, some of whom we hear are relatives, friends, and in-laws. How can you say there's no money to pay staff who have been continuously working and you're recruiting new ones? You say there is no money for staff in the office of the leader of the opposition to have their contracts renewed, but people are distributing money to themselves. Again, that was very problematic. So there's a challenge with recruitment of staff, and there's got to be a proper explanation. There's a challenge.
You are equally not innocent on this.
How so?
We gather you have a sister-in-law who is working at Parliament.
Sister-in-law of mine?
Yes.
Who is my
Whose
sister-in-law?
recruitment is also irregular, in a way.
Sister-in-law would mean a sister to my wife. Who is that?
Yes.
A sister to my wife. Who is that?
Have you heard of these reports?
I'm hearing it from you.
They're also in
well, now you're here.
Exhibition.
You're the one saying it, so you tell me who is my sister-in-law that works at Parliament or whatever. Who is that?
We have gathered reports.
Now you tell me what you have gathered.
Is it true or false?
Which sister-in-law of mine are you talking about? Of course it is false, but now that you're saying it, because I don't want you to be like a propagandist, Simon Kagwanjala. When you say, on this show is taken seriously by people out there, you have said that you have gathered information that I have a sister-in-law working in Parliament.
Yes.
So I'm challenging you to name who that sister-in-law of mine is.
Well, it's been mentioned.
So you mention it here. Don't just talk like a propagandist. You have said it here.
Okay.
So I am challenging you.
Mention is it true or false
I've
that
told
you have
you
a sister-in-law?
it is false.
Okay, great.
But now you...
We can move on.
Don't run away from it. You're saying you have incredible evidence about it mentioned the name
How
of
was
Manchester
your
and Law.
publicist recruited as well?
So have you now conceded that you were just being a propagandist
No,
about
no, no,
that?
no. It's
You've
what
not
I
conceded.
picked. It's what we are picking.
So what
from
have
the
you picked?
exhibition.
What's the name?
We are yet to get the name.
So if you're yet to, if you don't have any information, you be quiet. Talk about things you know, Simon.
Okay.
Let's proceed.
So you are talking about irregular recruitment.
Yeah.
Fine. How is it happening? How is it playing out?
People are hired, again, like it's captured in the Auditor General's report. Hired, they are drawing a salary. First of all, how they are hired, the Auditor General is questioning that. Number two, when they're hired, they cannot be identified because the head count was done by the Auditor General. And saying 105 are unidentified. They are drawing a salary. We don't see where they work within the institution. Where do they report to? But they are drawing a salary. Those are not just my words. Because if it were my words, you would say, you just don't like, I don't know who. It's captured in the Auditor General's report. That's problematic. And we need an explanation to that issue. The other financial challenges at Parliament are to do with when the Speaker travels. And I want to just show you a bit of that. When the Speaker travels, her official per diem is $990 per day. But the Speaker has been traveling. She went for official leave days, 30 days, and she got 499 million. Okay? When she traveled for 30 by annual holiday, 30 days, 494 million. Per diem for the Kenya Assembly, 43 days, 653 million. 20 days per diem to Midrand, Johannesburg, South Africa, 318 million. 30-day travel to Kenya for 30 days, 487 million. 7-day per diem Kigali, 106 million, and so on and so forth. We are saying the Speaker's official per diem
Regular allocated,
is
right?
990. Can we have now a proper explanation about all these allegations that we have picked up? I saw the spokesperson of Parliament, again, Chris Obore, saying when the Speaker travels to the US, a hotel there for a person at her level is $3,500. So what we are saying is, okay, at what point does that get revised? Did she sit in her office and decide alone or on her own? All these are critical issues. It does not make sense at all. But also, in some situations, you're in Kenya at the same time, you're in Kigali. But how?
Okay,
Within
you're
a
focusing
period,
on the
this is-
Speaker,
this is
but
the
there are
most-
also legislators.
Yeah, began there.
And
Let me
moreover,
finish.
from the opposition.
Wait to divert me. Let me finish this. You will ask me that issue too. Within a period of 146 days, you're being paid per diem covering 164 days. But how? So the possibility is actually these trips were not taken, but you received the money. Can we have accountability for all of these very serious, heavy-sounding allegations? Of course, the other one is the Clerk to Parliament, Mr. Adolf Mwesige. Also, per diem you're here. At the same time, you're in another place. The Speaker, whenever she travels with her husband,
You're hesitant to mention your colleagues.
and so on. I'm coming. You'll ask me whatever you want to ask me.
Can we
just
do
a
this
second.
shortly after the break?
No problem.
If you could just
No
allow me
problem.
to take
No
this break
problem.
very fast.
No problem.
Well, the big question remains whether the opposition that's meant to play oversight is also becoming complicit in the plunder. Good morning. Welcome back. We're still having a conversation on the mind-boggling revelations that are coming out of the Parliament exhibition. Well, the big question remains whether the opposition that would be putting government in check is also becoming complicit in this. Well, Honorable Ssenyonyi has been taking us through quite a number of alarming expenditures, especially on trips abroad. But the Speaker has been widely mentioned. How about your colleagues? How about yourself? Because there is a damning report indicating that Parliament spends 2.6 billion per day, of which the LOP also takes a share.
What share?
There's a percentage for the LOP's office.
Okay, so, and you ask how about us, and that's why even we on the opposition, we are saying even if it's one of us, we must take action. But just allow me finish this. Also to put into proper perspective that 2.6 billion shillings per day. aside from the per diem issues of the Speaker, there's money that is normally sent directly to employees' accounts, employees of Parliament, including the spokesperson, Chris Obore. 1.7 billion shillings was sent to his account, okay? And all of these are allegations are saying, we demand proper accountability. There's another one, this is Assistant HR Director, 2.4 billion. This is money sent, which is apparently for speakers, corporate social responsibility activities, donations, and so on and so forth. But how? Another one, a principal protocol officer in the Speaker's office, 1.1 billion. Chris Obore have mentioned 1.7 billion
These are
shillings.
Revelations in the Auditor General's report.
4.7 billion. These are coming off a government system called IFMIS. Do you know that system?
Yes, I do.
You do? So there you are. So another one, 4.7 billion shillings. Now responding to your 2.6 billion shillings per day. You see, all of this money is drawn, okay? Another one, 4.5 billion shillings. And they withdraw it, apparently, for the Speaker's activities. Which activities are these? Can we have accountability about all of these very serious allegations?
But
Can
you're
we
a member of
just
the
listen?
commission.
And I'm going to respond to that, yeah? So we are saying all of this is problematic. And look, we have nothing, I have nothing against the Speaker of Parliament. I respect her and her office. I respect Honorable Mpuga and the other leaders, but we are demanding for accountability. And nobody should divert to say you're speaking because you don't like them. Okay, let's assume I don't like the Speaker, but which is not true. It doesn't matter anyway, but at least I respect her and her office. But can we have these accountability issues responded to? When staff, by the way, after the Kazinda incident, you remember the Kazinda incident in the OPM?
Right.
Government issued a standing order that money to be put on the accounts of staff of government, civil servants, for field activities should not exceed 5 million shillings. But you're saying billions of shillings for Speaker's activities. Which activities are these? Can we get to know them? Can we have proper accountability? And why is all of this money being put on the accounts of staff of Parliament?
Honorable Ssenyonyi,
Lastly, on this issue,
you should be tasking Kosase to undertake an investigation on this in your capacity as leader of opposition.
And they should, just like we are also demanding for an explanation, a proper explanation, accountability questions to be responded to. There is also something else that is very problematic. The Speaker, as we do understand, has a radio in Bukedia called Mama Bukedia FM. Parliament gave it a contract worth 3.12 billion shillings to do Parliament work. I don't know which work that is. Now, I was on radio yesterday, and the spokesperson of Parliament, Chris Obore, got in touch to share feedback on the same, as they normally do. And he said, but the issue is that money doesn't get to be paid at once, that contract. You know, I said, well, that's not even what I'm saying. Point is, at least you have accepted and admitted this contract was signed, where procurement regulations followed. The other very problematic thing about that contract, the people who signed as managers of the Speaker's radio station are staff in her office as Speaker of Parliament. These things are problematic, Simon. And that's why we're saying we want serious responses to all of these heavy-sounding allegations.
But they're not just arising now. They've been on for a while.
Well, it's been, at least now the information is available now. Now that it's available, let's talk about it. Let's demand for answers, and that's what we are doing.
Okay. As we speak, Parliament is on leave.
Yeah, it was sent on, and we are asking the Speaker, please reconvene Parliament so that we discuss these issues. Also, can Parliament come out comprehensively and respond to these issues? Because we must be accountable to the public.
But the monies under question are being passed by Parliament. The Parliament where you sit.
You see, money can be passed. That doesn't mean it should be irregularly used. Because now the issues did Parliament, for example, let me ask you this question, but we are scrutinizing now. Did Parliament pass that 3.12 billion shillings worth of a contract be given to the Speaker's radio station? Did Parliament pass that? Of course not. Were procurement regulations followed? And staff in the office of the Speaker are the ones signing as managers of the radio station. That's problematic. Did Parliament pass all of these different things? Okay, when money is passed for different government entities, does that mean it has been passed for you to misuse it? So you can't say because money was passed for your entity, that means you should misuse it. Let's be serious, Simon.
You're raising a red flag for an institution where you're working.
Yeah, and it's my duty. The Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and the rules of procedure mandate me as leader of the opposition to keep the government in check. That's what I'm doing. Government, by the way, includes the executive, the legislature, the judiciary. So those who are saying I am just talking, I'm doing my job.
Isn't this going to put you at loggerheads with the Speaker of Parliament, with whom you're meant to be working cordially?
If it does, so be it. But the point is I'm doing my job. This is my job within the law. It's to keep the government in check. It's to demand for answers. If I can demand that Nabanja explains about Mabati, why can't I demand that the Speaker explains also? It's my job. So no one should think I'm doing this out of hatred or whatever the case might be. I am doing my job.
Yeah, but you're harping more on the Speaker than your colleagues.
Yeah, because
there's also accountability issues regarding all MPs in the House.
Raise them.
Opposition MPs are taking irregular flights, and no one is mentioning this.
For example?
There is a list that's been issued on Honorable Ssenyonyi Ibrahim Nganda's trips, plus several other MPs who are picking money. This is irregular, isn't it?
So you see the challenge also we have in that parliament. Every trip, just like every other little thing, has got to be approved by the Speaker. So it's at her discretion to determine who goes for what trip and so on. And I think that's also problematic for the institution to be more institutionalized. Yeah, the Speaker doesn't have to approve every little thing. Even when I'm going for a field visit to get costers, the Speaker has got to approve. Can you imagine? That's problematic. And I told her, you cannot, when are you going to have time to do serious things? I asked her that. I was in her office. I said, Madam Speaker, if you have to approve every little thing, including a coaster that I'm to use with the members to go to the field, when are you going to do more serious things? You know, I told her, I actually feel for you. I feel sorry for you because you should be attending to more strategic issues as leader of this institution. But anyway, hopefully that gets to change. Yeah? So now, when that gets to be the case, and members have actually complained, some members, some actually, both from NRM and the opposition across, saying for me, the Speaker, one, doesn't give me chance to speak in Parliament. Two, doesn't approve, give me chance to travel. So that's the challenge also, because the way the rules are crafted, the modus operandi is the Speaker is the one to approve. Now, that's why you'll find some people traveling a lot more than others, which is also problematic. That's why maybe that has got to be taken away from the Speaker. Because otherwise then, the Speaker might approve Kagwanjala's travels a lot more because maybe you're her friend or whatever the case might be, or whatever considerations, yeah? So that's why you want to protect the Speaker also, to say, can we now limit some of these things? Maybe to a panel or whichever other modus operandi, but if it has to be an individual, no wonder. You'll have some members traveling several times. There are members of Parliament who have not traveled even once. They've been in Parliament for 3 years. Some have approached me and say, talk to the Speaker, does he not like me? Why is it that me, I never travel? I say, well, what can I do about that? It's at her discretion, which is problematic. So that the speakership has got to be protected, in my view.
Do you realize you're starting off on a very hostile note?
Hostile because I'm asking accountability issues? That makes me hostile, Simon?
Isn't this likely to spell doom for you in your tenure as leader of opposition in Parliament? But I thought some of these matters would be addressed internally without you coming out to expose them.
But my duty
you
is
have
to
a commission.
My duty is to keep the government
commission
in check. Now
yes.
You talk about the commission. I've not sat in any commission meeting since I became LOP. I'm told the modus operandi has always been about twice a month. I had Chris Obore say that the commission sits quarterly. Quarterly is 3 months, but then he said it last sat in August. Now since August to date, it's been 7 months. There's been no commission meeting, whether I was a member previously or not. So why does it take that long for a commission meeting to happen? But anyhow, I've written to the Speaker and asked her, please convene a commission meeting. So we get, because the commission is the one in charge of running the affairs, especially the financial affairs of Parliament. Okay? And I'm saying to her, you also need to protect yourself. Because now, people will begin to assume you sit as the commission and approve all these different things. The commission should be able to sit. Let's sit there, agree or disagree, but let's sit and discuss these issues.
Well, we need to wind up here, and I must really thank you very much, Honorable Hon Ssenyonyi, for sparing time to speak to us. Do you think you can compel the Speaker to convene Parliament to address the crisis? or you're simply crying out?
We have urged her. We hope she'll be able to do that. It's also good for her because it's important that the public does not imagine there is secrecy over these issues or that they are being pushed under the carpet. Respond to these issues. That's very important. We are, according to our vision, a people-centered parliament. How do you be a people-centered parliament if you're not accountable to the people? You must be accountable to the people. And again, this is the right thing to do.
Well, the question remains, what is at stake as Parliament gets exposed, one in the exhibition and by the statements of the leader of opposition? That's it from me. Let's keep the conversation running. Have a lovely day.